Good morning, children. Welcome to today's class. So, in the last class, we have done the bridge course, that is recalling the fourth standard syllabus. Now, from today, we'll start the fifth standard portions. Okay. So, this year's portions we are going to start. So, be attentive, listen so that you'll understand well. Okay, children. Yes. So, let me start today's the first chapter in your fifth standard syllabus. Okay. Yes. So in the last class bridge course also we have revised what is the necessary for growing plants, why we have to grow plants. So our life is largely dependent on plants. So we use plant and plant products more in our day-to-day life. Plants and plant products we use more in our day-to-day life. Okay, so it might be the cereals, rice, ragi, wheat, or fruits, vegetables. So we get everything from the plants. So that only we need. In order to live, we should have food. So most of the food what we eat is got by the plants. Okay, so that is not the only reason. So there is other reasons also why we are dependent. So we get many medicinal plants also. It might be neem, tulsi, eucalyptus. All these are medicinal plants. So we get some medicines also from plants. And we get from the cotton plant, we get cotton. So we can use it for the cotton clothes. And from the plants, we get wood, so that we can make use in the furniture or the pencils. And we also get the paper, gum, eraser, all those things. Many things what we use in our day-to-day life is got by the plant and the plant products. So in our life, there is a lot of demand for the plants. Our life is dependent on the plants. So that is why we have to grow plants. So most of the things we use in our daily life is got by the plants. So that is why we have to grow plants. And you also studied that living things will not live forever. It might be the plants, human beings, animals, whatever it might be. So they will not live forever. Once their lifespan, so they live until a certain extent, that is until their lifespan, so many years it lives. So every living thing has its own lifespan. So until their lifespan, so many years they live and they die. So after that, the life should go on the earth. Life should continue on the earth. So if you don't have the species of the plants, animals, or the human beings, then how the life is going to be on the earth, is it not? So we have to continue the species. In order to continue the species, all the living things should produce of its own kind. So plants should give out plant only, animal young ones, and human beings babies, like that, of its own kind it should produce. So that process, this also you have learned already, that process is called as reproduction. Okay, so what is reproduction? Producing new species of its own kind. So as I said, the young ones will resemble their parents. So young one of animals will resemble their parent, even human beings also, even the plant also. So of its own kind, producing new plants, growing new plants of its own kind is called as reproduction. Growing new plants. Okay, that is called as reproduction in plants. Okay, so why we should grow more and more plants? Because our life is largely dependent on plants. We from day we start the day. So our life is dependent. For the breakfast, it might be, for the lunch, it might be, it is dependent on the plants. So we have to grow new plants, more and more plants. So that is called as reproduction. So not only for the food, it makes the air pure, it gives us oxygen to breathe. So not only in the form of food, it also gives us oxygen to breathe. So for all these conditions, for all these reasons, we have to grow new plants. Okay, so growing new plants is called as reproduction. So that is the first lesson in your 5th standard, that is growing plants. Growing plants. So till now I said what is the necessary for growing plants, is it not? Okay, now how the new plants can be grown? How the new plants can be grown? Now, if you have a garden in your house, or suppose you go to park, you find varieties of plants, is it not? So some bear flowers in it. So you know that flowers are very attractive. So it has a pleasant smell, good smell, nice smell from that few flowers. Or few will be bearing fruits, or few without fruits will be there, without flowers will be there, plants. Okay, so how the new plants can be grown, we'll see that. Okay, now you know that for some plants, or you know that basically you know that plants, when you sow a seed into the soil, we can grow new plants. We know that only, is it not? So what happens to the plants if it does not have the flower, if it does not have seeds, or if it does not have the fruit which will have the seeds in it? So how will new plants grow from it? Now suppose if it is a flowering plant, so you can say that after all the petals of the flowers will fall off, so it will turn into seeds, and those seeds can be sown in the soil and new plants can be grown. Or if those flowers only will turn into fruit, and fruits will have seeds inside them, and those seeds can be put in the soil so that you can grow a new plant, is it not? Yes. But now, as I said, what is how the new plants can be grown if the plants does not have the flower, if it does not have the fruits, how the new plants can be grown? Okay, so reproduction in plants can be done in 2 ways. Okay, so reproduction in plants, reproduction can be done in 2 ways. The first one is through seeds. Through seeds. Okay, and then these are for the plants which bear flowers, which have flowers. So flowers turn out into seeds, and if you sow the seeds into the soil, you get a new plant. Now what is the condition for the plants which does not have the seeds? I said it can be grown from the other parts of the plant, like roots, stems, and leaves. Okay, so these are the 2 ways by which plants can be grown or plants can be reproduced. Reproduction in plants can be done. First one is through seeds. So as I said, flowers will turn into seeds, and seeds can be sown to get new plant. And for the plants which does not have the flowers, so it can be grown from the root part, stem part, and the leaf part of a plant. Okay, so these are the 2 ways by which a new plant can be grown, that is through seeds and through roots, stems, and leaves. Got it, children? Okay, now as I said, we'll study this one by one, how new plant can be grown. Now as I said, through seeds. So where you will get the seeds? In the flowering plants. So flowers will have seeds in it. Okay, so before going to how we can grow new plants from the seeds, we'll study a little bit about the flower, because flower is the most reproductive organ, you can say, for a plant, because new plants can be grown from the seeds. Okay, so we'll study about flower now. Okay, now as you know, now as I told you before, suppose you have a garden in your house, you have a rose plant in your house, or any hibiscus, any plant, any flowering plant in your house. Now as soon as you see that flower, so which is the most attractive part you can see, or where your eyes, on which part of the plant will your eyes fall? Definitely on the flower only, is it not? Because it is colorful. It comes in different colors. Different flowers will have different colors. So it is very attractive. It is nice to look, and you get a good smell also from that. So flower is the most attractive part of a plant. Now, when I say about the flower, it is the attractive part. Attractive part of a plant. So why it looks attractive? Because it comes in different colors. So when I'm talking about the flowers, so it is the attractive part of a plant. Okay, and then this has two roles. A flower in a plant has two roles to do, two functions to do. So what is that is, since it is attractive, it not only attracts the human beings, it also attracts insects. It attracts insects. Okay, so how? Because you know that all the flowers have a sweet substance called nectar. To suck the nectar from the flowers, and since it is colorful, I said, why it is attractive? I said it is colorful. So since it is colorful, so the insects will go and sit on the flower. So that is why it attracts insects which help in pollination. So later I'm going to explain what is that pollination. Okay. For the time being, you understand that it attracts insects. Okay. And then second role of the flower is it forms seeds. It turns into seeds where new plants can be grown, from which new plants can be grown. Okay, so these are the two roles of a flower, important roles of a flower. So the flowers are the colorful, attractive part of a plant. It has two roles to do. What is that? It attracts insects because it is colorful, and it helps in pollination. I tell you what is pollination. And next one is it will turn into seeds from which new plants can be grown. Okay, so these are the two parts. So understood this? Okay, now we'll move to the next topic. Till now we have studied about the flowers. Okay, and it is helpful for the insects, which will help in pollination, and it forms seeds, I said. So we'll see what are the parts of the flower. Okay, so next one is what are the parts of the flower. Okay, so parts of a flower. Parts of a flower. Okay, so now here, can you see I have drawn the flower here. Okay, now we'll see the parts of the flower. Now, as I said, when you look at the flower, so it is very colorful. It has green, yellow, and red, pink, orange, white. You get different colors. So when you see a plant, we see the flower as the more attractive part. So other part, the leaves, the branches will be brown or the green in color. So since it is colorful, it is going to attract. Okay. Yes. Now the first part of the flower. Okay. So as I said, it is attractive. More which is attractive is the petals. Okay. So where you have the petals, this part is called as petals. This here, all these are called as petals. Okay. So again, these are the showy part or the colorful part of the flower. Colorful, hence it is attractive. Hence it is attractive. Okay. And then, as I said before, when I said the role of the flower, I said it is going to attract the insect. So this part, this petal is the part which is going to attract the insects. So since it is colorful, it is going to attract the insects. Okay, so this is the first part of the flower. So this, the red color what I have colored, so that is the petal. So it is colorful and attractive, and it is going to attract the insects. Okay. Yes. Now we'll move to the second part of the plant. So here, can you see this? This here. So these are called as sepals. What are they called? Sepals. This part, green, what I have drawn, no? They are called as sepals. That is the second part, that is called as sepals. Okay, so in the flower, when you see the flower, where you can find those sepals? At the bottom, base of the flower. So it is present at the base of the flower. Okay, now what shape it resembles? It is like a leaf. So it has leafy structure. It has leafy structure. Okay, so present at the base of the flower. It has leafy structure and it is green in color. It is always green in color. Whereas this petals, as I said, it comes in different colors. Different flowers have different colors in their petals. But this sepals present at the bottom has green in color, is green in color. Okay. Yes. So what is the use of this? This is going to attract the insect. What is this going to do? So this sepals, it is going to protect the flower in its early development. That is, protect the flower when it is in the bud stage. When it is in the bud stage. Okay, so if the petals bloom, if the flowers bloom and get the petals only, so it will be strong. But since it is still bud, it needs someone to protect. So these sepals are going to protect these petals before it is bloomed. So if it is still in the bud stage, so these sepals are going to protect the flower. Okay, so this too, did you understand? Now we move to the third part of the flower. So that is carpel and stamen together. Okay, carpel and stamen. Third one is carpel, stamen. So these two are the parts of the plant where the reproduction takes place. So these two parts are directly involved in seed formation. These two are the parts where seed formation takes place. Okay, so carpel and stamen are the parts of a flower directly involved in seed formation. Okay, now we'll revise, or we'll see each one now, carpel and stamen. Okay, first we'll see the carpel, which are the parts which form the carpel. So carpel is also called as pistil. So the other name for carpel is pistil. So this carpel is the female part of the flower. This carpel is the female part of the flower. Okay, again this has three parts. Again this carpel has three parts. Okay, we'll see what are those three parts. So up here, can you see this? Here there is a sticky substance on that. Okay, so up, what is that? That is called as stigma. The first part is called as stigma. So on this only there is nectar, a sweet substance called nectar. What the flower produces will be there, and on this only the pollen grains will fall, pollination takes place, and seed is formed. So I will explain how the seed is formed in the next. Okay, now first part, did you know this is stigma? Okay, so here this is stigma. Understood? Stigma. And below that, you have an oval shape, egg shape, oval shape on which you have some eggs-like thing here. Okay, so that part is called as ovary. Okay, that part is called as ovary. That is the second part, ovary. And what I said, it has eggs. What are those eggs called? They are called as ovules. They are called ovules. This is the second part. And if you see the diagram, so up I told it is stigma, down it is ovary where ovules are present. It is joined by a tube, connected by a tube. So the stigma which is on the top and the ovary which is down is connected by a tube. So that tube is called as style. That tube is called as style. Okay, so it is a long tube which is going to connect the ovary and the stigma. That is called as style. So these are the three parts. These three together forms the carpel, which is that ovary, stigma, and this one, it is style. Stigma, style, ovary. These three forms the carpel, which is the female part of the flower. Understood? Okay. Now we'll move to the stamen. Stamen part. The three parts what you studied will form the carpel. Style, stigma, and ovary will form the carpel. Now we'll see what is there in the stamen. Okay. Now this is the female part. Obviously, stamen will be the male part of a flower. Male part of a flower. Okay. Yes. Now again, this also has two parts. This also has two parts. What are the two parts? When you come to this side, you will see that. So here, long tube. Can you see? Long tube, and at the end you have like this long tube. Okay. So that long tube, what you have, that long tube is called as filament. What is it called? Filament. Filament. And this filament in the end, at the end of every filament, you can see that. So it holds some substance that is called as anther. That is called as anthers. So and on the anthers, you can see yellow powder-like substance present. Okay. So first I'll write this as anther. Okay. Anther. So on the anther, you can see yellow powder-like substance present. That yellow powder, what the anther has, it is called as pollen grains. It is called pollen grains. Okay. So when I said the role of a flower, I said that it is going to attract the insects, which will gather the pollen grains. So on this anthers, you have the pollen grains. Got it? So these are the parts of the flower. And as I said, this anther and filament together will form the stamen. And stigma, ovary, and style will form the carpel. Together, carpel and stamen are responsible for seed formation, which can turn into new plant. Okay. So these are the parts of the flower. Got it? So can you revise what are the parts of the flower now? So the petals, they are the attractive part of the flower. It is colorful. It is going to attract the insects. And at the base of the flower, bottom of the flower, you can see a green leafy structure like thing that is called as sepals. That is going to protect the flower at the bud stage, early development at the bud stage. And then next, the stigma, style, and ovary forms the carpel part, which is the female part, and stamen is the filament and the anther. So anther has yellow powder-like substance called pollen grains on it. Okay. So these carpel and stamen are responsible for seed formation. Okay. And then carpel is also known as pistil. So these are the parts of the flower. Okay. Now we'll move to the next point now. How the seeds are formed. Now till now you studied flowers are the reproductive organ of a plant. So from plant only we are going to get the seeds from which a new plant can be grown. So all these you studied. Now how a seed is formed? We'll see that. Okay. How seeds are formed. How seeds are formed. We study that how seeds are formed. Okay. So I told you that flowers are going to contain the seeds. So from which the new plant can be grown. Now from the flower, I have drawn the flower here. How the seed is formed. Okay. Now I told the petals are the attractive part of the plant or the flower. Okay. So what happens is, since it is attractive, so the insects are going to feed on the flowers. Insects are going to feed on the flowers for the nectar. Okay, so when it feeds, so when it sits on the petals, okay, so as I said, on the petals you have the pollen grains. Okay, so on the anthers you have the pollen grains. There are chances that I told you the pollen grains are the yellow powder like substance. So if you touch that, it is going to stick. Okay, like that. So if the insects are going to feed on the flowers, feed for the nectar on the flowers, so there are chances that the pollen grains which are present on the anther, it is going to stick to the body or the legs of the insects. Okay, so when the same insect or the insect which is carrying the pollen grains comes and sits on this stigma, where it has a sticky substance, I said it produces a sticky substance called nectar. So when it comes and sits on this, okay, so as I said, the pollen grains would have stuck to the bodies. So then at that time, the pollen grains which are there on the body of the insects going to drop on the stigma. It is going to drop on the stigma. Okay, so where were the pollen grains first? It was on the anther. And when the insect is feeding, it is going to stick to its body. And when it flies and sits on the stigma, it is going to transfer onto the stigma. Okay, so where were the pollen grains? First, it was on the anthers. So when the insects feed, when it stick to its body, it goes and makes it fall on the stigma. Okay, so this process, the pollen grain which was on the anther, it is transferred to the stigma. That process is called as pollination. What is it called? It is called pollination. Okay, so what is pollination? That is the transfer is shifting, moving. So it was on the anther. Now, because of the insect, it has transferred to the stigma. So the transfer of what? Pollen grains. Pollen grains. Where it was first? Anther. So from the anther, so where it will get shifted? To the stigma. It can be to the same flower, or the insect can feed on the other flower also. It need not be the same flower. So it can feed on the other flower also. From the anther to the stigma of a flower. So this process is called as pollination. Understood? So what is pollination? The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower is called pollination. Okay. Now who is going to transfer that? Who is the main cause for that transfer? Are we going to take the pollen grains and put it on the stigma? No. Who is responsible for that? As I said, it is the insects, though they feed on the nectar. So we call this insect as agents of pollination. Insects are called agents of pollination. Agents of pollination. So they are responsible for the pollination. So that is why we call that insects as agents of pollination. Okay. Now after that, what happens? We will see how it is related to seed formation. Now understood what is pollination now? So the pollen grains which was on the anther will get shifted to the stigma. So this process is called pollination. So what happens after this? We'll see. Okay. So as I will draw the ovary here. So ovary it was there. So you had the seeds in it like this. Okay. So up you have the stigma. Sticky substance, the stigma. Okay. So this is the stigma and this is the ovary. Okay. And it has a tube. That is the style. Okay. Now after pollination, what happens? As I told, insects are the main agents of pollination. Okay. Now what happens? Now on this sticky substance is there and the yellow powder like pollen grains are also present. Okay. So after some times the pollen grains have reached the stigma. So those pollen grains will break open. So what will break open? The pollen grains will break open and produce a tube. So inside this, it produces, inside this style, it produces a tube and it is going to reach the ovary. So that tube, what it produces? So that tube is called as pollen tube. That tube is called as pollen tube. So once the pollen grains and the nectar get mixed, so it breaks open and it produces a tube called the pollen tube, and the content of that, the sticky substance, nectar, it might be all the pollen grains, will get mixed with the ovary, which has ovules in it. Ovules in it. So now all the contents will get mixed. What are the contents? In the ovary, it has ovules and the pollen grains, the sticky substance, nectar. So all the contents will mix together and now the ovary will change. So the ovary will swells up. Okay, that means it becomes bigger. The ovary will swell up and it turns into a fruit. So as and when it the day passes, so that swells up and it is going to turn into a fruit, and this fruit will have seeds in them. This fruit will have seeds in them. Okay, so now this is how the seeds are formed. Or it after it swells up, few will turn into flower, so which is going to have the fruit. Sorry, which is going to have the seeds. Or few will turn into fruit, which is going to have the seeds. Okay, so this is how the seed is formed. Okay. Now tell me one thing. Now, will all the flower is going to turn into a seed? Will all the flower turn into seed? No. Why? Because only the flower on which the pollination takes place, where the insects feed and it's going to transfer the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma, only then there is chances for a seed to be formed. So for the other plants where the pollination does not occur, so after some time the petal is going to fall off, it is going to wither and this flower will become useless. It will not change into or convert into fruit or seed. Okay, so only those flowers on which the pollination occurs, only on those the seeds are formed. So it is not possible for the other plants where the pollination will not occur. So if pollination does not occur, then the seed will not change into a plant. Got it? Or seed is not formed at all. Okay, so then that flower will become useless. So after some times the petals will all fall and it becomes useless. Okay, so this is how a seed is formed. Okay, yes. Now we'll move to the next point. Now you learned that how a seed is formed. Next is we'll see the structure of a seed, how the seed is. I think you might have all seen the seed, is it not? Many seeds. So we'll see the structure of a seed. We'll see structure of a seed. Okay, so now suppose you have, if you have seen a bean seed, okay, so it will be like this bean seed. Okay, so outer covering, so outer it will be hard, usually brown in color. So outer covering, this is the outer covering. So this is the structure of the seed. So inside here you have a small marking, and from here the baby plant will start growing. Baby plant will start growing here. Okay, this is the structure of a seed. Okay, so this seed also has three parts. Okay, so we'll see one by one now. So the outer covering, what I have drawn in the red here, so it will be usually brown in color and it is very hard. Okay, so the outer covering is called as seed coat. What is it called? Seed coat. Okay, so as I said, it is very hard. It is going to protect the baby plant which is growing inside. So that is the function of the seed coat. So since it is hard, it is going to protect the baby plant. It is going to protect the baby plant. So that is the first part. So this one, this is the seed coat. Okay, next one is this one. Okay, this one is baby plant, or it is also called as embryo. What is it called? Embryo, or it is also called as baby plant. It is also called as baby plant. So it is where from which the plant, the seed will start germinating, seed will start growing. So that part is called as embryo. Okay, that will grow into a seedling or a baby plant. Okay, and the third one, this part, this completely, this part, yellow color, what I have drawn now, this part is called as cotyledons. What is it called? Cotyledons, or it is also called as seed leaves. Seed leaves. Okay, now what is the use of this cotyledon is, so these cotyledons, the baby plant, it cannot prepare its own food. Now for us also, when we are small, so we were not preparing. So our parent only, mother only used to prepare, is it not? So even here also, still it is young. So until it reaches certain stage, until it bears the leaf, and by photosynthesis, until it can prepare its own food. So these cotyledons is going to store the food for the baby plant. It is going to store the food for the baby plant. Okay, so these are the three parts of the seed and the three functions of each part. Okay, so this is the structure of a seed. So the outer covering, what you see here, that is the hard part. So that is called the seed coat. So it is going to protect the baby plant since it is hard. So if suppose if any damage is done, so it is hard, it is going to protect the baby plant which is growing inside. And the seed, after it gets the conditions, I'll say what are the conditions for the seed to grow into a new plant. So it starts growing. So that is called as embryo or the baby plant. So this is from where the seed will change into seedling, new plant. And then the inside one, that is called as cotyledons, or it is also called as seed leaves. So this is going to store the food for the baby plant. So these are the three parts of a seed: seed coat, embryo, and cotyledons. Okay. Now I told you that a seed, simply if you sow the seed into the soil, it will not grow into a new plant. So it requires some basic conditions for a seed to grow into a new plant. Okay. So we'll see what are the conditions which seed needs in order to germinate, in order to grow. Okay. So for a seed, in order to grow, it requires three conditions. So, conditions for a seed to germinate. Conditions for a seed to germinate. So you know that you're going to sow the seed into the soil. Once you put it in the soil, is it enough? No. Other than that, you need three conditions. What are the important conditions? What it requires is, it requires air, it requires water, it requires warmth or the sunlight. Okay, so these are the conditions which a seed needs for germination. So when you sow the seed into the soil and when you water it, when I explained the structure of the seed, I said the outer covering is very hard. So when you put water for it, it becomes soft and it is going to absorb the water and the air, the nutrients which is present in the air, the carbon dioxide or the nutrients which is present in the soil. So, and from the sunlight, it is going to absorb all those things. It is going to prepare food and it is going to germinate. So all the three conditions is must. It is not that now suppose you put some seeds into the pot and you pour water for that, or you keep it in a dark room without the air, without the water and without the air and the sunlight. So do you think the seed will germinate? No, because it is not getting the air, because it is all covered. It is not getting the air. Is it not? Okay. Then, or suppose you keep it outside, the air is there, sunlight is there, you don't water it. So how will the seed coat becomes soft and it is going to absorb the nutrients and the water? So it is not possible and it will not germinate. So, or suppose you keep it in a room, you open all the doors so that the windows, doors, everything, air will come inside and you're going to water, but there is no sunlight. So will the seed germinate? No. So all the three conditions are must and it should be in the right amount, right quantity, all the three conditions. Now you say, you sow the seed into the soil and you for one day you don't water it, and the next day, oh, I didn't water it yesterday, today also I didn't water, so for 2 days also I'll put it together. So if you do that, so the seeds all will rotten and you will not get a new plant. So in the right amount, it should get it in the right amount, then only the seed will grow into a new plant. Okay, so all these three conditions are must for a plant to germinate. Okay, so when you sow the seed into the soil, and if the seed gets the proper amount of right amount of air, water, and sunlight, there are chances that it will grow into a new plant. Okay, yes. So in the next class, we will see how when a seed gets air, water, and sunlight, how the seed will change into seedling. What are the steps? How it will start growing. We'll see that in the next class. That process is called germination. Okay, so we'll see now once you put the seed into the soil and once it gets air, water, and sunlight, how the plant, how the seed is going to change into seedling or the baby plant. We'll see it in the next class. Okay, so here I'll conclude the today's class. We'll see it in the next class. So until the next class, you practice this diagram, you draw this diagram, color, label all the parts, children. Okay, thank you.